Maru do it? Is it actually a legit concern here?
I'm not sure if we should really be worried if his hands betray him or not, but I do think he can do it. For me, Maru is the favorite as well, but I think this is going to be one hell of a series. It's been a great day of StarCraft, Nate. We did 7 best-of-5s already. This is going to be the last one, and it could very well be the longest one, because even though I agree with the boys, I do think Maru shines most with Bio. I think we're going to see Mech at least once, if not twice.
I would not mind that. I will be here to carry you home if that happens, Kev. We are loaded in to Moonlight Madness to kick off the final round of 16 match here for the World Championship Series Global Finals. In the bottom left position, spawning as the blue Terran from Jin Air Green Wings, he is Maru.
I do agree that if he is at his best, he is absolutely a title contender, and he may very well take it all. But he's going to have to start by taking care of his teammate, the Zerg player that's spawning in the right top side of Moonlight Madness. It is, of course, a Rogue. A while ago, Nate, we came to the conclusion that Rogue, he is the grinder. 5 out of 6 top 8 finishes in the most prestigious leagues in Korea this year. That's insane, man. Like 5 times quarterfinals, that's so good. But of course it's weird as well to see a player that is that good, and not just in those competitions, even in Pro League as well, which, you know, he brought up himself. It's like, guys, don't just talk about my top 8s. In Pro League, I was actually better than every other Zerg out there. You know, I was better than Bjol, I was better than Life. So he is extremely good, but he has never made it to the semifinals. BlizzCon would be one hell of a stage to start with, though.
Yeah, this is a big opportunity for him to really say, yeah, okay, I had a lot of good performances, but now you guys need to see me win something big. And of course, if you guys think that Rogue's got a chance, make sure you keep letting us know on social media. Hashtag WCS, but also hashtag Rogue if you think Rogue will win, and hashtag Maru if you think Maru will win. I think a lot of Terran bros out there. Maru's been one of the most fun players to follow pretty much since he rose to prominence, because he is so good. Some of the best moments that we've seen in the World Championship Series have been at the hands of players like Maru. I think anyone will forget. They were talking about Jaedong earlier, one of the epic first-person view video that's got a bajillion views of him splitting all of his forces in the center of Frost a year or two ago. He's been a force to be reckoned with for a while.
I mean, even in 2013 already, in WCS in Canada back then, Maru had that ridiculous game against Gear, also on Frost. And it just made people jump up. I mean, Maru
You can play TVP like this?
Maru has made me stand up in the past while watching his games. You know, how he's splitting individual Marauders against Colossus to make sure that only one Marauder takes damage for every Colossus shot. The things that he can do if he's absolutely on fire, if he's really in the zone, it's insane. But, you know, I feel in this series, obviously micro is going to be very important, but I think strategy-wise, that might even be more important.
Yeah, that's, I think, one of the best things about a player like Maru is that he mixes it up enough, but he like kind of creates these moments where you look at like Terran players for inspiration. You don't really look to innovation for inspiration. He's just going to do what everyone tells you should be doing better than you can. But Maru's going to really make some crazy stuff happen that you're like, I want to do that. I want to be able to play like this and make these moves happen. And so far, it looks like a lot of you are leaning towards the side of Maru.
Yeah, I am a tiny bit worried, even though I was feeling Maru as well, and I still am. I've watched a couple of games of Maru recently over the last few months, of course. You know, you always catch them, and even when you don't, you want to watch the VODs of this guy. But he has lost a couple of pretty straightforward matches, you know, against Zergs like DRG. And of course, DRG once upon a time, the absolute best Zerg in the world. But right now, he's not the same as Alive. He's not a Rogue. He's not Dark, you know. So if you lose a very straightforward, fair match against DRG, you could potentially be having a very hard time at BlizzCon going up against the likes of Rogue. Then again, Maru did defeat this very own Rogue 3-1 in the GSL quarterfinals a couple months ago. So that is something you can work with, but it was a pretty unique series. A lot of variety in the opening build orders. A crazy game with a big comeback where 3 Banshees pretty much saved the game after he lost 57 SCVs. So it wasn't flawless. You know, 3-1 sounds convincing, but every game could have pretty much gone the other way as well.
Yeah, already we're seeing a very interesting opening out of Maru. This seems like some sort of counter meta play where perhaps he's expecting Rogue to go for some sort of Roach Bust, but he opens with a fast tank and medevac. I guess he's going to try to do the drop in this area, as our observer's pointing out. Still, you know, if it weren't for this map, I would say this is a highly unusual build to go for.
On this map, we've seen it before, though. But if Rogue identifies this in time, he could potentially expand at 3 o'clock, which obviously is quite far away. But it does make sure that he takes absolutely 0 damage from this opening.
This build also lends itself pretty well. I'm not saying it would 100% happen, but for a mech follow-up, because he's already got the 3rd gas in his natural as well. And there's the armory, so I am expecting to see some level of that play. I would be surprised if he went into bio out of this. And that first drop, I guess we're going to find out how much a tank can do here.
Yep, but it's not a super quick turret hatchery. There are no drones over there just yet, so I don't think it's going to be able to do a whole lot. I think it's in range of the gas, but you know, it would be annoying to lose that extractor, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and I mean, if worst comes to worst, actually these queens are in a beautiful position to defend this. I was going to say, worst comes to worst, it wouldn't even be terrible to try to drop that tank on the other side of the destructible debris, try to sequester off those bases to delay a third hatchery, potentially. But there he's going for that high ground platform. It's out of the range of most of these forces. That Spine Crawler is going to try to have something to say, though.
There are a couple of queens around, and they should be able to transfuse it at least for a little bit. As soon as you take care of the Marines, and it's just that tank, and eventually you should be able to take care of it. Queens with an Overlord should provide high ground vision as well, and this tank's going to be forced to relocate, at least for a little bit. And I think so far it's so good for Rogue. He's really not taking any damage against this.
Nope. Depot for Maru does see these rocks on the right side, so getting ready. But the medevac gets killed, which means no retreat for this tank.
I would leave this tank there. Just let it there for the rest of the game. That's supply, Nate.
Yeah. that three supply you'll never get back. He has actually supply blocks, so it's like, kill it. I need to build units.
New medevac does arrive. He's actually going to get a second tank and a couple of SCVs as well. Maybe a turret.
Yo, these SCVs, man. Yeah, man, the cavalry's here.
It's going to keep these tanks alive against a third few mutalisks. Of course, you need more than just 5 or 6 mutalisks to engage into a bunch of missile turrets. But these rocks, these Marines didn't have enough DPS to actually save the rocks for now. And this is very annoying for Maru because he doesn't have a whole lot of units.
No, I love this that he splits lings off between both bases. He forces SCVs to get pulled here. He prevents him from being able to move forces to his main. The thing is, even though he's going into mutalisks, the lack of any Hellions is actually a really big problem.
And then let's not forget, Maru is busy dealing with these Zerglings right now.
He's not building turrets.
Exactly, there are no turrets. He does have one Tor. He lost the Tech Lab, by the way, so he's going to have to renew the Tech Lab if he wants to build more Tors. I think this is a very successful run by.
Yeah, I do like this, though, because these tanks are still an issue, and they're keeping the mutalisks held back for a little bit. And now that he sees there's mutas, even if they dive in on these siege tanks and kill them, it also tells him, hey, build missile turrets back home now. He's got 1,000 minerals. He should have missile turrets on them.
He tried to save the tank, but it's just a little bit too late.
Maru, he has he's just starting his third command center. I've actually just realized that.
And he's
so
just
this
throwing additional barracks now as well. But Stim is going to be so late. Holy hell.
He's actually going to go bio out of this.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be like a 14-minute Stim timing.
Yeah.
I think he's in so much trouble.
I don't really know what he's doing. This is pretty crazy. I was like, I can see how you could kind of like slowly transition into mech out of this, but his third command center is going to get canceled? What is going on in this game?
Well, he does cancel it, so he doesn't lose all the minerals, but does end up losing 100 minerals, and of course it's going to be quite a bit delayed. There's still that SCV there as well.
I want him to just build a sensor tower there,
That's a prisoner of war if I've ever seen one in a game of StarCraft 2.
He's actually stuck. Well, actually, maybe he let it kill the turret, run away. Yeah, an overload would have been nice. So drilling claws are on the way. He's actually getting a +1 attack now, his second engineering bay. But these rocks were open too, so that's also a problem.
And that missile turret helps out quite a bit. He's going to repair the Tor with all the SCVs, but it's not going to be enough. The Tor does fall. That's a very expensive pickoff. I mean, look at the supply of Maru. He's working with 14 army supply right now,
He's getting spanked right now, Roddy. This is not how I expected this series to start, but Maru did such a weird build and such a weird follow-up. Really seemed like he had it laid out where he was already prepared to deal with the mutas, but he just didn't expect him to flood lings through the rocks.
Yep, I think a single Hellion would have already helped so much. Just having one Hellion shoot at a couple of those lings from across the destructible debris would have helped. 3-4 Marines was just not enough to scare those lings away. There were over 20 lings working on that debris. Just 3 Marines have no DPS. Very good move by Rogue, and Army Supply tells the tale of this game right now. 72 against 18.
You said it, Kev. 15, 14-minute stim. This is not enough to defend against this Roach follow-up. He's just going to walk across the map, smack him across the face, and kill him.
I would love to call this a timing, Nate, but it's not a timing.
No, as exploiting a very particular window after already killing most of everything that he has. The Roaches show up, and that should be it for game number 1. I don't see how he's supposed to magically kill a bunch of Roaches. GG, Rogue takes an early lead in this best of 5.
And this is where all the hipster Zerg fans around the world say, I have no idea why everybody thinks Maru is going to win this series. Rogue was clearly the favorite.
Rogue, but Maru just pulled a dream, though. Like, he just did this build that I guess you can see, like, you can be like, well, hey, there's a platform where you can put a tank and lings can't hit it. Does that mean that you should put go to the platform and put tanks there. If he gets the SCV on the other side of the tanks and maybe he kills a few more mutas for free, maybe. But you invest so much, and honestly, he got nothing out of this tank play.
I mean, I think this build from Maru is also a lot better against a 3-hatch opening, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like late Spire.
Yeah, 2-base, I mean, you know,
2-base Spire is pretty much the answer
I'll give
to
him
this.
credit, you know, obviously I wouldn't say I'm better than Maru, but against
I hope not, Nate.
against a 2-base Spire, you know, fast siege tanks were never really a strong build.
Because I would pull you off the desk if you'd say something.
I'd pull myself off the desk, man.
Either way, that's a fantastic way for Rogue to start his series, and not the long game that I expected. Of course, you know, just a couple of arrows and perhaps the wrong build for Maru. We'll see if game number 2 brings something that we kind of expected. It's going to be played on Iron Fortress, I think a map that both these guys have played a lot on. I've seen Rogue multiple times on this map, and I do think this is a map he feels very comfortable with.
Yeah, you know, this is one of those maps where if you get cross spawn as Zerg, you've got to be happy playing versus Terran. It's so hard to rally across the map. We've seen it time and time again. There's a reason the Zerg logo's in the center of the map. We make that joke every cast, but it's true. If you get cross spawn versus Zerg and they spread creep, don't do anything too cheesy, it's actually quite difficult unless you can get some really early damage done and gain momentum.
Now Rogue is also the type of Zerg that does sometimes do weird openings, where, you know, where he opens up with a 13 or 14 pool, just hoping that he's playing against the CC first on the low ground. And the previous game Maru did go CC first, but I've also seen Rogue try to do that against a person that just opened up with a barracks on top of his ramp, and then that person's like, well, cool, I'm 4 workers ahead right now, and your hatchery is extremely late. You just put yourself in a pretty dicey position.
Yeah, we're setting ourselves up for a pretty interesting top 8, especially if our Zerg player manages to take this game somehow. But will it be evened out by this guy, our blue Terran in the northeast? From Jin Air Green Wings, he's Maru.
Zerg, the most underrepresented race at BlizzCon, but so far the Zergs that we have seen, they've done very well. Of course, Bjorn got his ass kicked a little bit by Classic, but life was flawless, and we saw it in the previous series as well. Hydra pulling the upset.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome so far. Can this guy bring the Zergs back here in the top 8? Of course, he is Jin Air Green Wings Rogue.
Spawning in the left bottom side of Iron Fortress, so we do have...
I like that you brought up the races too, Roddy. So we have 2 Protoss guaranteed in semifinals now. This is a part where I asked for a balance patch for Heart of the Swarm before it's over.
2 Protoss? 3. We have Classic, Hero, and Rain.
Yeah, I just mean guaranteed.
Oh, semifinals.
Yeah, for semis. Because of the PvPs.
Okay. Oh, yeah, and if a Zerg wins...
I'm a Terran, Kev. I can find a way to whine about anything.
You're whining ahead of the situation, Nate. That's very impressive. The quarterfinals aren't even played yet, and Nate is already upset. It is going to be CC first on the low ground, so Rogue probably thinking like, man, this is one of those moments where I should have gone for my cheeky early pulls. That he's definitely not afraid to bust out, no matter what's on the line.
Yeah, I already think that this this drone just being out here, it's always annoying because you want to pull your SCV away, then the drone can regenerate health. So if you just tag the SCV on it, eventually he can like kite you around to a weird point where the drone can actually kill both SCVs, and then you just kind of, you know, just F10 rage quit. Obviously, you don't want to do that here when you're competing for, you know, a shot at BlizzCon.
Yep, and of course this one SCV could have been mining all along, but it's not. Of course, you know, Rogue also lost mining time by sending his drone across the map, but at least he knows what he's up against. While Maru, he probably expects, you know, hatch first, followed up by a pool, but if you're not sure, it's always a little scary.
Yeah, that's another very important thing. Of course, his attention is going to be focused on this. I like how in the last year, I've actually seen so many more Terran players do this, because no one really did it the first couple of years of StarCraft, is the command center first, then gas, then barracks. You get a really fast factory follow-up to your command center first, and if your opponent doesn't go pool first, it's actually just better than the regular command center first, then barracks, then gas. As a super nerdy Terran notebook, I always wonder, I'm like, man, you only have 1 Marine if you go for this opening before your factory's out. It's very scary versus early attacks.
Only if there's nothing to worry about, 1 Marine is enough.
Yeah.
As that factory goes down, and it's indeed a very quick factory. I mean, a little bit past the 4-minute mark, including having a second CC already. Just to put things in perspective, when Terran tries to go for the quickest factory against Protoss, it's like 305.
Yeah,
so
if
this
you
factory
go gas first with no expand, this is actually still reasonably close.
Yeah, this is just a minute later. And
the difference is if your opponent runs 6 lings past your bunker, having 1 Marine versus 2 can make all the difference in actually not dying to early aggression.
of course, keep the tweets coming, #WCS, and vote for your player. Who do you